The Enigma of Jimmy Hoffa, 10 Shocking and Scandalous Facts.
Jimmy Hoffa, the infamous American labor union leader and president of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, has long been a figure shrouded in mystery and controversy. His life was a tapestry of power struggles, alleged criminal connections, and an unsolved disappearance that continues to intrigue and perplex.
Here are 10 of the most shocking and scandalous facts about Jimmy Hoffa, each painting a portrait of a man who left an indelible mark on American history. Fact number 1. The rise to power.
Jimmy Hoffa's journey to becoming a central figure in the labor movement began early in his life, but it was in 1952 that he first gained a national profile when he was elected as a vice president of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters.
By 1957, Hoffa had ascended to the union's presidency, a position he would hold until 1971.
Under his leadership, the Teamsters grew exponentially, from 750,000 members in the early 1950s to over 1.5 million by the late 1960s. Hoffa was known for his relentless work ethic, charismatic leadership, and, at times, controversial tactics, including the strategic use of strikes to secure better wages and working conditions for union members. His tenure, however, was also marked by allegations of corruption, including accusations of embezzlement and connections with organized crime to maintain and expand his power within the union.
Number 2. Alleged mob connections. Hoffa's alleged connections with the American Mafia are among the most scrutinized aspects of his career.
These connections reportedly began in the late 1940s and early 1950s, as Hoffa sought to consolidate his power within the Teamsters and expand the union's influence. One of the most notable allegations was his involvement with the Mafia in the use of the Teamsters pension fund. It is believed that millions of dollars from the fund were loaned to mob-controlled casinos in Las Vegas, providing Hoffa with powerful allies within organized crime. Key Mafia figures such as Anthony Tony Pro Provenzano and Anthony Tony Jack Giacalone were often mentioned in connection with Hoffa, suggesting a mutualistic relationship where the mob used union resources for their enterprises, and Hoffa received support for his leadership and union objectives.
Number 3. The Kennedy Feud.
The conflict between Jimmy Hoffa and Robert F. Kennedy began in earnest when Kennedy was appointed as chief counsel to the Senate's McClellan Committee in 1957, which was tasked with investigating labor union corruption. Kennedy was particularly focused on Hoffa's activities, believing him to be deeply involved in corruption and organized crime. This clash escalated when Kennedy became Attorney General in 1961, under his brother President John F. Kennedy's administration. Kennedy pursued Hoffa with zeal, resulting in numerous charges and trials against Hoffa throughout the early 1960s. Their feud was not just legal but personal, with public exchanges of insults and accusations. Hoffa was eventually convicted of jury tampering, attempted bribery, and fraud in 1967, leading to a 13-year prison sentence, although he was released in 1971 after President Richard Nixon commuted his sentence.
The animosity between Hoffa and Kennedy was a defining feature of Hoffa's leadership of the Teamsters and his legacy in American labor history. Number 4. Convictions and imprisonment.
Jimmy Hoffa's legal troubles culminated in a significant trial that led to his imprisonment. On March 4, 1964, Hoffa was convicted of jury tampering in a case dating back to his efforts to influence the jury in a 1962 trial in Nashville, Tennessee, where he faced charges related to improper use of the Teamsters pension fund.
Hoffa was accused of attempting to bribe a juror with $10,000.
Later, on July 26, 1964, he was also convicted for fraud and conspiracy to defraud the Teamsters pension fund. These convictions led to Hoffa being sentenced to serve concurrent sentences, totaling 13 years, in prison. President Richard Nixon commuted Hoffa's sentence on December 23, 1971, after Hoffa had served nearly 5 years of his sentence. The commutation came with a caveat that prohibited Hoffa from engaging in union activities until March 1980. Despite this restriction, Hoffa was determined to regain control of the Teamsters, indicating his enduring influence and ambition. Number 5. The disappearance. On July 30, 1975, Jimmy Hoffa vanished, marking the beginning of one of America's most perplexing unsolved mysteries. Hoffa was last seen around 2:45 p.m. outside the Machu's Red Fox restaurant in Bloomfield Township, a suburb of Detroit, Michigan.
He reportedly went there to meet with two mafia figures, Anthony Tony Pro Provenzano and Anthony Tony Jack Giacalone, although both men denied any meeting was scheduled.
Hoffa's disappearance prompted a massive FBI investigation, yet despite numerous leads, searches, and theories regarding his fate, no trace of Hoffa has ever been conclusively found. His disappearance remains a subject of speculation, with theories ranging from being buried under Giants Stadium to being incinerated.
Number 6. FBI's intense scrutiny.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation's (FBI) involvement in Jimmy Hoffa's case illustrates the extensive efforts made to uncover the truth behind his activities and disappearance. The FBI's Hoffa file, which contains over 16,000 pages, is a testament to the depth and breadth of the investigation, covering aspects of his life, union activities, and associations with organized crime. This file, publicly released under the Freedom of Information Act, provides insight into the government's concern over Hoffa's influence in the labor movement and his alleged connections with organized crime. Despite the extensive investigation, much of Hoffa's life and disappearance remains shrouded in mystery, with the FBI files offering glimpses into the complex web of interactions and events that define Hoffa's career and legacy.
Number 7. Alleged CIA ties. The speculation around Jimmy Hoffa's alleged ties to the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, adds a fascinating dimension to his complex narrative. These allegations center around the 1960s, a time of high political tension and covert operations, particularly focused on Fidel Castro's Cuba. It was rumored that Hoffa, through his connections and influence, may have been indirectly involved in some of the CIA's clandestine operations aimed at destabilizing Castro's regime. The backdrop to these claims includes the broader context of U.S. efforts to counter communism in Latin America, including the infamous Bay of Pigs invasion in April 1961 and ongoing attempts to assassinate or overthrow Castro. While direct evidence of Hoffa's involvement in such activities remains speculative, the notion that his sphere of influence might have intersected with national security interests highlights the breadth of his power and the complexity of his connections. Number 8. Theories surrounding Hoffa's disappearance.
The unsolved mystery of Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance has spawned numerous theories over the years, each suggesting a different fate for the former Teamsters Union president. Some of the most widely discussed theories include: buried in Giants Stadium. One of the most popular theories was that Hoffa's body was buried beneath Giants Stadium in New Jersey, specifically in the concrete of the end zone. However, this theory has been debunked by various investigations, including an examination by the television show Mythbusters. Cremated in Detroit, Frank Sheeran, a friend of Hoffa's known as the Irishman, claimed that he was responsible for killing Hoffa and that his body was cremated in Detroit. This account served as the basis for Martin Scorsese's 2019 film, The Irishman. Disposed of in the Everglades, another theory suggests that Hoffa's body was ground up at an ironworks, placed in a drum, and then shipped to the Everglades, where it was thrown to alligators. Despite its sensational nature, this theory lacks concrete evidence. Buried under the Renaissance Center, Marvin Elkind, who had ties to the Mafia, suggested that Hoffa was killed and his body was encased in wet concrete during the construction of Detroit's Renaissance Center. Like other theories, it has not been proven. Dismembered and disposed. Some speculate that Hoffa's body was dismembered and then buried in various locations, or disposed of in such a manner that recovery would be impossible. This theory encompasses various narratives, including being pushed from an airplane over the Great Lakes. Each of these theories reflects the deep intrigue and mystery surrounding Hoffa's disappearance.
Number 9. The Hoffa Act.
The Landrum-Griffin Act, commonly referred to as the Hoffa Act, was enacted by Congress in 1959 as a direct response to the corruption and criminal activities associated with labor unions during the era of Jimmy Hoffa's leadership. Named informally after Hoffa due to his emblematic representation of union corruption at the time, this legislation aimed to clean up unions by imposing stricter regulations. It mandated detailed reporting of union financial transactions and assets, aimed at preventing embezzlement and ensuring democratic practices within unions. The act also allowed for government intervention in cases where corruption was suspected, marking a significant shift in the way labor unions were governed and monitored in the United States. The Hoffa Act stands as a testament to the government's attempt to curb the influence of corrupt practices in labor organizations, influenced heavily by the controversies surrounding Hoffa and his era.
Number 10. Family legacy.
Jimmy Hoffa's family, particularly his son James P. Hoffa, has played a pivotal role in continuing the Hoffa legacy within the labor movement. James P. Hoffa followed in his father's footsteps, serving as the president of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters from 1999 to 2021. Jimmy Hoffa's wife, Josephine, was a steadfast partner throughout his tumultuous career, and their children, including their daughter Barbara, have maintained a connection to their father's legacy, albeit in varying capacities. Barbara has been involved in legal work, further demonstrating the family's ongoing engagement with civic and labor-oriented issues. The Hoffa family's enduring involvement in the Teamsters and the broader labor movement reflects a commitment to their patriarch's vision of workers' rights and union strength, ensuring the Hoffa name remains synonymous with labor advocacy in America.